has joined the meeting.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
Hi.
Is the town on too?
It says City of Greenfield,
Okay.
but I don't see Robin.
Okay. I just wanted to tell you, I just called you a few minutes ago.
Oh,
I asked department head Letourneau to join us about the outdoor dining. Because our meeting, we had a meeting on economic development on Tuesday. And so if she's on the line, I was just wondering, we can ask this when the full thing is there, if we can suspend the rules and let her talk first on that, where we all might have input. It was just a thought. Okay?
okay. I see you. I see, it looks like Bob Williford. Call in user 2. I don't know what that means. But we'll find out.
Sometimes that can be somebody that's calling and that's just listening.
Okay.
There's 2 City of Greenfield on.
Ah, there's, okay. She must be a City of Greenfield.
I am a City of Greenfield. I'm guessing the other City of Greenfield is Robin. She's at work, so she doesn't have the camera or the microphone. So
Okay.
probably just listening along.
So she'll just be listening.
Or she might be this call-in user. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I finally got access. I'm not sure. I lost. I couldn't find access. This is Doug Mayo, by the way.
Hi, Doug.
Hi. I could not find the access code to this meeting. It took me forever, and so I'm dialing in by phone.
Okay.
So that will be my experience.
The access code was on an email from Robin Fordham. Is that?
I haven't seen. I mean, I did a web search through my email, and I could not find any mention of the code. There's a lot of codes that were released, but not for the one for Commission on Disabilities, at least that I could find.
May I say something?
Sure.
Okay.
Is that you, Jenny?
Yes, this is Jenny. Hi.
Mute.
Hi there. I think that I'm going to ask if Lindsay would be sending these invitations, or Robin, to our council email.
Yeah.
Because I got mine to my private email and then needed to forward it so that I could call in. It would make it much easier for us, Lindsay or Robin, who's ever sending out the invitation. If it comes to our council email, we're all set. We just push a button.
Okay, because maybe that's where I was looking, because I was looking in the wrong area. I was looking on the council website.
Okay, I'm going to mute now, but that's my ask if they can respond at some point.
Robin Fordham, City of Greenfield, has joined the meeting.
That sounds fine.
Okay.
Hello,
can everybody hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
It's Robin. I'm calling user 3, I believe. I'm also City of Greenfield on the computer. I'm going to mute myself now.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Margot.
Hi, Lynn.
I guess that we are ready to start. Can you hear okay, Doug?
Which one is Doug?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay. Okay, then I'm going to call the meeting to order. Present is myself, Lynn Kelly, Chair. Did people want to go around or would you just like me to say who you are? Okay.
That's fine.
So Virginia DeSoga is here. Lindsay Rowe. Margot Campbell. Doug Mayo. And Bob Williford is a citizen here. The first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. They look pretty good to me. Did anybody have a question or concern about them?
No.
I make a motion to accept.
Second, DeSorga.
Okay, approved to accept the minutes. Margot, did you want to do the treasurer's report?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing has changed. The handicap parking fund is at $2,821.05. And the CDA budget is at $300. And that's it.
Okay.
No changes since last month.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, the first thing on the agenda is just wanted to check with Lindsay about any change in progress at the Garden Cinema.
They are actively working on it. I think there will be installation by the end of the month.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to continue to remind you that I'd love to do a dry run there once it's installed.
I let them know, so hopefully you will hear from them.
Okay, all righty. Next on the agenda is the status of the invitation to the department heads. We were supposed to have Mark Snow today. I presume, Lindsay, you had arranged that, but they had to cancel at the last minute.
Yes, unfortunately, Mark's out today.
Okay. Virginia, did you say that you had someone else who was available today?
Yes, I didn't say they were available at our Tuesday economic development meeting. I asked Director Letourneau from the mayor's office if she was available today to sign on to this meeting, as she is having a lot to do with the outdoor dining. She did have a conflict and she was unsure whether or not she was going to be able to do that. So I don't see her here right now. But while I have the floor, Robin Fordham came on after I said this. And I think Robin's the sender of the invitations. And Robin, I was just wondering if it would be possible for you to send the future invitations to these WebEx meetings to both Doug and myself at our council emails. It would make it easy for us to sign on. If that's not too much trouble, please and thank you.
Can you hear me? That's fine. Just forward those email addresses to me in an email, and I'll send to both your email addresses. Does that work?
Yes, I'll send. I'll send you mine and
I'll send you mine.
Okay, great.
Okay, so do you think Lindsay, Mark Snow will be available next month, or should we ask for Miss Bird, Valerie Bird?
I will reach out to both of them. Valerie had initially said that this was timing wise was very stressful.
Yeah.
And she had a lot going on. So I will talk to both of them and see if either of them are available for next month. But
Okay.
I'm sure Mark, would have been here had he not been out today.
Yeah, that's too bad. Okay, just a quick update on the remote access status. Obviously, we're doing the WebEx, but I think, Lindsay, you said you were gonna just look into the machinery that we had talked about many, many months ago.
So Fernando said we could still move forward with purchasing the phone piece, or we could choose to get a subscription to Zoom or another online service like WebEx, if you guys wanted to do that moving forward, if this was working well for everyone. So I think that's a question that the committee probably needs to look at. But we may want, if the WebEx does work well, or online Zoom works well for everyone, we may need to figure out how to make do we need any additional equipment? But I think that's a question for the committee.
So my only concern continues to be for folks who do not have a computer. Many of us do, but sometimes folks from the community want to be part of it, and they just might not have computer access.
They can always call in via, like right now, Councilor Mayo is called in. So I think that would be the question would be, do you want to continue something like this where people can call in if they can't be present? Or would you like to go to just the conference call and the, around the table piece, especially because we don't know how long this is going to last. So I think that's a question for the committee.
Okay. Ginny, did you have something you wanted to say?
I did, but I think Lindsay answered it. But I would just like to say I'd like to continue this. I think this is a good format. And I think it's also nice to see other people's faces. And I frequently call into other meetings, like I just listened to the school committee meeting last night. There's a number, and you just listen and you don't speak. Although if you wanted to identify yourself and give public comment, you certainly may do that. So I think it's very reasonable, and particularly for this group, I really think that this would be ideal. And for Lindsay, and then I'll stop talking, or Robin, have you had, I was just looking this up today, have you had any further guidance as to how long the governor has said that remote, the rules were suspended? That's my question. Over and out.
I have seen no such guidance at this point. I think no one has a clue as to when they're going to stop this, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I'm happy to say this is working well for me, and I vote that it's very nice to see people. And this works well.
Okay.
Those of us who have some obstacles in getting out. Okay. I just wondered if it's possible to, this was on our website. Is that correct, Robin? The link for it was on our website? Yes, Ginny.
Hi. The link should have been on
yes,
the
link
calendar.
was there, because I follow the link.
Okay. Good. Okay, just wanted
So
to.
did you have, I'm sorry, did you have just trouble connecting by computer, Doug? Was that the problem?
I had many problems connecting to with the computer. Once I had to do some digging to find the link on the site itself, so it was not very clear. Let's just say I had to do some digging and basically found like the other option through the general town website is to make a call in.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the calendar on the town website is where we post the meeting notice that you get that includes the link and the join by phone number.
Yeah.
So just want to make sure you.
Yep, that's the way I went through. Is I went through with the calendar and not the actual website of the CDA.
Of the commission. Oh,
right.
Okay, right. So it is, it's definitely not on the website of the CDA, but there's a link to the meeting, which does take you right to that calendar. So hopefully.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, good. Did you couldn't find my email with the call-in information? Is that the issue?
I could not.
Okay. Hopefully the additional email address will solve that problem. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, just a quick check-in. Has there been any change in the Elm Terrace bus stop? Any information about that? Ginny?
I don't have any more information with that. And where are we with that right now? We had
The last I knew is that Director Marlowe from the DPW was aware of the issue and that they were working on it, or were going to soon be working on it, and this was over a month ago.
Okay, I can follow up with a phone call to Director Warner if everybody thinks that's a good idea.
Yeah, I just.
Sorry, this is Robin again. The minutes do say that the last report to the committee was just that things were on hold due to the pandemic.
Right. But I just didn't want that to get lost. So if Ginny would follow up with Mr. Warner.
I will do that gladly and put it down on my list.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I also had put on here building accessibility and the CDA inclusion in planning stage. And of course, I also wanted to add to that the planning stage about the outdoor dining. So, Ginny, did you want to give some feedback about that? And
yeah. So gladly, I will do that. First, I'd like to thank the people who wrote letters to us because it is so much easier to plan in advance as opposed to with hindsight. So I'm just going to use your first names, Lynn and Bob and Joanna. Thank you for those letters because we are in the planning stages right now for the outdoor dining. Those of you who wrote were told, and I saw, Bob, is it okay if I call you by your first name? I hope. I saw you were on our call with economic development on Tuesday night. Last night was appointments and ordinances where, so Director Letourneau was on with us all of Tuesday night. Last night was A&O where they are working on the writing of any regulations around, that surround that. And I chose to be on with the school committee meeting as opposed to A&O because I'm going to be able to catch up later with A&O. But basically, they're looking at quickly, by within the next few weeks of making outdoor dining possible for the individual restaurants who have requested that they would like to be included in this. And so I'm just going to tell you who some of them are. And there's 3 different types of them. If that's okay, it'll take a couple of minutes. There's some restaurants, 3 that I can think of. Maybe there's a 4th that I'm not sure, but 3 or 4 restaurants already have a license to serve food and liquor outdoors. And that includes, so their license extends to outdoors. That includes Pete's Seafood, Mesa Verde, Terraza, and I believe Goodies, but that's just a question. So they're kind of all set, and they are in places that that were sort of already established. I've been down to Mesa, and they put picnic tables out, lime green picnic tables with a plastic something in between. It's outdoors and as accessible as Mesa Verde was. So is the outdoor dining. In my opinion, I looked, and I looked at a couple of things. I think, okay, so that's one part. I want to say as we go on that this is going to be something that can be temporary. It can go into further while we're first getting it going, which is why I wanted Director, she couldn't be here, but why we wanted input from the town. We want to take everybody's needs into consideration, and into consideration the needs of these businesses to get going, that they've lost, a lot of income. That's certainly not the number one priority, but it is a priority. So we all kind of have to work together on this. So that's the first group of restaurants. The second group are ones who they have their own private parking or land that's adjacent to them, where we can easily suspend the rules of the license and have that be outside. That would be something like, we think of a restaurant that owns, like the 99 owns their own parking lot. Okay, so for them to extend their outdoor dining, their license process will be easier. They'll be in group 2, and they've already, done something about that. And then there's the third group of restaurants, and they would be restaurants who would be needing to use, to serve outside, but what the available space for them serving is actually town-owned land, like the sidewalk or a parking lot. And so there was going to be an agreement with the town. They're hoping to make this all go through. It has to go through council, and then it would go to the licensing board on June 18th. So those are the 3 types, and that would include like Magpies, I think, or maybe Hope and Olives. There was talk about several things, about coning off, part of the parking spaces in there. There was actual talk about, and they have to talk with each individual restaurant owner, but there was talk about even blocking off part of Ames Street, blocking off part of Main Street. It certainly came up during the discussion, and I think Bob Williford can attest to that, that the needs of those who are not able-bodied must be considered in all of this. And I said that during the meeting. Bob had an opportunity to speak also, and everyone is going to do their best at that. I felt that in good faith, everyone was going to go forward. And some of it looked like the plans would be to keep the sidewalks kind of as are, and then like using a little alleyway or using some of the parking spaces. I can see one little problem with that with Namaste I was thinking about, because they don't own the sidewalk, but there is a disability space right by there. So as each one goes along, I'm not sure, and maybe Bob Williford, he was on the line, can help refresh my memory, who'll be actually looking at each one of those. But I felt like we kind of impressed upon them the need for, making sure that the maneuverability is fine, between the spaces. And I don't know if Bob Williford wants to speak to add anything, but I liked somebody's letter in particular that said everyone should be able to join in this. And I noticed at Mesa Verde, they had the picnic tables out, and at the end for the thing that was between, they had to put 25-pound a weight to hold down this. It's a piece of wood that looks like a goal post, and it has plastic in between, but to keep it from blowing over on the ground, they had to put 25 weight pounds to keep those things from blowing over. And I looked at that and I said, okay, you'd have to like kind of navigate, it just would stick out a couple of inches. But there certainly was a navigable path that one could navigate to get to that. And I think that would be something where I looked at it and thought that would be doable for one to sit at the end of that and just, we're going to do the best we can by that. I say that I wore both hats, and I will be looking at that with an eye. And I don't know if Bob, who was on the call, wants to add in anything. I'm going to be silent now.
I can tell you from being at A&O last night is our goal was to, our agenda was exclusively to look at the licensing changes that we would need to make in order to make this happen as soon as possible, to get the restaurants up and running and in code with CDA guidelines, and just to get this as many participants as we can and get it up and running as soon as possible. That was our only goal last night, and it was voted unanimously to send it to positively to send it to the council to vote on.
Hi,
Did you?
it's Robin here. Sorry, I have a question. What is ANO or ANL? I'm not following what entity that is.
A&O, appointments and ordinances.
Thank you.
No problem. Sorry for my rambling.
Ginny, did you want to go next, and then Bob? Ginny, you had your hand up again. I figured you wanted.
Bob, maybe you had more to say. I didn't want to interrupt you. Okay, I'm just gonna say then, if anybody has, you've heard the restaurants that I've talked about, of those that they've reached out to, a certain number have come forward and said that they wanted to do that. That included the pint, and I'm not sure that it included hangars, but where they're adjacent to each other. So it appeared to me that looking at Ames Street closure was a possibility. And I guess I would just like to know if there's anything further, because the next time that we'll be meeting about that, if there's anything further that anybody wants, myself or Counselor Mayo, who's online, to make sure that we say. I loved getting these letters again ahead of time. They're very helpful because they went to all council members. If there's any words that you want to use or any thoughts that anybody has online, I was trying to look while I was online about the sidewalk space that one needed for, I know you need like a 48-inch turnaround, but the width, if there was any problem. I know by the pint and hangars, there's no sidewalk possibility. But I just wanted to hear from other people first. If you knew offhand the width, which I think it might be, it's either 3 or 4 feet, and any thoughts that anybody had.
I'm going to let Bob go next, and then I'll respond to your answer. Not hearing. You're muted. Here you go.
All right. One thing from last night's meeting was that they were saying that they were going to change the ordinances to reduce the minimum of the sidewalk from 6 feet to 5 feet. So I don't know how you can keep 6 feet of separation on a sidewalk, or 6 feet from the diners who are unmasked, obviously out maybe in the parking areas, as you roll by in a wheelchair. So that may be something that has to be questioned. And I think there are some places where there's not 6 feet in the sidewalk. So the fact that you say, oh, well, we can reduce it to 5, it may only be 4. I don't know. So that's something to keep an eye on. And they said at the meeting that these are just proposals. And of course, the full council will have to make a decision. That's all I really had to say.
Thank you, Bob. Ginny?
But the person in the wheelchair, I'm just thinking this out loud as we're saying it, the diners would have to have their masks off. Oh yeah, but diners would be having their masks off. But the person in the wheelchair who is driving by would have a mask on. So, which just prevents the outward spread. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think I sent you the 521 CMR that has the, those are just the general regs of you need a minimum of 36 inches width. But I think there's, another layer of unique needs. And I would also suggest, if you would like, I can also, again, do a dry run if they're going to set up places. I'm happy to go and, with the basic, I refer them to the basic regulations, but I can also, come in person and just see if something works or doesn't. Just a suggestion. Ginny?
Maybe you might want to do a drive-by of the ones that are going currently,
Okay.
because, and like I personally, I looked at Mesa Verde. I've been up at Terrazas before, but not lately. I don't know how difficult that is, but Goodies they got extra tables from the fairgrounds, and I have not looked at their setup at all. And Pete's Seafood outside, I haven't looked at. So if anyone, if you are out, Lynn, that would be good.
I'd be happy
And prior to next Wednesday, and just a phone call or any input, because I don't want to be the sole supposed expert on this, because I've just gone to the training like the rest of us had, and this is different.
Yeah, yeah. And because it's different, I think lots of times it's helpful to just physically do the run, and that might be helpful. So I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to go out and give it a try. Okay. Was there anything else about the outside dining that people wanted to add? Okay. I'm just,
Sorry,
go ahead.
I thought of one more thing. There was 2 places where they were talking about using alleyways.
Mhm.
There's an alleyway next to, it sounded like over on the side by Magpies. And then there was another alleyway. I don't know, Bob, if you remember, but if you're downtown and you could look at those 2 alleyways, I think the other one was by Namaste. I haven't looked at those alleyways. I don't know how the passability, the passing of that would be, how one would pass through that. So that's a consideration. So, Bob, maybe you remember where the 2 alleyways were, and I'll be quiet.
Councilor DeSorder, I think there was some mention of using an alleyway by Greenfields Market, but it was that Greenfields Market itself wanted to use that for its dining. Don't know about the other.
I can say for myself, I mean, I'll take a look at the alleyway or Magpie. Most of the people that I know who use wheelchairs really can't navigate Magpie very well. It's such a steep incline. I'm not taking that off the table, but I will take a look at that. But Magpie may not be easily doable outside. So just adding that. Okay. Just give me a minute here. I wanted to mention a couple of things. Just under the category of COVID-19, just quickly, I'm sure people saw the email, but the CAM training, Community Access Monitoring training, that we finally were going to be able to host in Greenfield this September, after many years of trying, is not going to be going. MOD has decided that they're just going to be suspending trainings for now. So that was disappointing news, but certainly understandable. And I don't know when, they said they would let us know when they're going to be reconsidering trainings. Let's see. I also wanted to let people know, Lindsay was nice enough to alert me to a virtual conference yesterday called elders and people with disabilities safe at home and thriving. And that was offered by LifePath. And it was really excellent. Besides the directors from LifePath, there was also Senator Comerford. There was Claire Higgins, who is head of the Community Action. And basically, it was just giving a lot of information about what the state is doing to support folks at staying at home, and the different services that are available to support them in doing that. So I just wanted to mention a couple of things, and that was that Claire Higgins from Community Action wanted to let people know that it's really important to apply for fuel assistance. Hard to think of it at the beginning of the summer, but they have some extra money, and that even if you don't need fuel assistance, if you apply for it and are approved, it opens the door to all kinds of other benefits, like help in getting a new oil burner or a heating system. So that is the portal to support people. And there has been money and grants available through the CARES Act and extra money that they've gotten. So they really want to sort of get the word out that there's money there to help people with utilities, with food. They have prepaid shopping cards. So if anybody knows of people who are in need of that. Senator Comerford talked about 3 bills that they're working on, again, in light of this. And the big one is they're trying to now allow spouses to be compensated for caretaking. And that's a big issue for a lot of people. I'm sure many of you know that. So it's a House Bill S28. I'll put this information on the website. But to definitely call your representatives and let them know, because this could really be quite of a game changer for a lot of people, to be able to have a spouse be compensated for caretaking. The second one was, let's see, Bill S68, which affects the PACE program of all-inclusive care for elderly. So again, people may be familiar with this, but there's an income eligibility for this program. And if you go 1 penny over it, then you're quickly knocked off the program. So, and I guess the term that they use is called the cliff effect. So what they're trying to do is waive that and really look at what people need and what their assets are, and allow them to have some kind of savings so that they can continue to stay in their house, which people will also need some kind of small amount of savings. So they're working on that. And then the last one is the telemed, and that's S556. And I'm thinking that many of us have had the opportunity to do telemed, and they're looking to, make that much more of a permanent benefit to the program. And then the last thing she talked about, which came up because a number of people called in with the question about unemployment benefits. And right now, if your employer says we're ready to open and you need to come back, then you're no longer eligible for unemployment benefits. However, there are people who have health issues or disability issues that would prevent them from coming back. At this point, there isn't a mechanism to protect them. But what she said is if you call your representative, they'll sort of do it on a case-by-case basis. So it was nice to see that that was even, being considered in the mix. So contact your representative if that's an issue for you. The conference itself has been recorded. It's on AOC TV. And if people have any need for questions, the information and referral at LifePath is sort of your place to start. But I have to say, it was very just so encouraging to see all of the things that people are doing. And to me, the concern is how do you get the information out so that people know what's available? So thank you, Lindsay, for letting me know about that and participate in it. Okay. Did anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Alrighty. The other thing that Lindsay had shared with me was another program called the Crip Camp Workshop. And I don't know if people have ever seen the Netflix special called Crip Camp. But it's a really eye-opening documentary about the history of disability rights. And now there's a whole workshop that's going to be going all summer long. It already started, but it's every Sunday. I think it's about 5 o'clock, but the sessions are recorded. And it's very interesting, very enlightening, and good to see all the different work that is being done. So if anybody wants some information on that, I have that. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was that Bob and Joanna had alerted me to the library is going to be opening for drop off, and Joanna sent me a picture of some porta potties that look like they were kind of set up in the handicap spots. So I just want to add that those handicap spots at the library, for me, are prime real estate. I use them all the time. They're the best spots. They're flat. I can, get in and out. And I want to check and see. I presume the porta potties are set up by the DPW. Lindsay, or does anyone know who's in charge of that?
This is Lindsay. I believe they were delivered by a private company. I don't know if, they said exactly to set up in these spaces. We can find that out.
Okay.
From the picture, it's hard for me to tell. Is that the main area, or is that the side that has the fire station on it?
I'm gonna go look today because I just got the picture. I was thinking it's the spot near the canteen for the
cafe.
Yeah, Le Petit Cafe. But I'm not sure. I was gonna go look at it today.
Yeah, I haven't seen it specifically, but I was going to go walk it tomorrow when I'm in the office.
Yeah. But it just raised that issue that, you know, if anywhere parking spaces are going to be used for outdoor dining or the library, do not use the handicap spot, please. And I'll let Mr. Warner know, but I will follow up with kind of who's in charge of that. Would you happen to know, Ginny?
No, I don't, but I think it's good. Somebody needs to take ownership for that to make sure that that goes away.
Mm-hmm.
ASAP. So that's good. I was looking at that and going, whoa.
Yeah.
And it just shows, actually, just to me, it was very reflective of what really can happen when there is not oversight. It's not thought about. It's not on the front of everyone's radar. And I just looked and I'm like, well, why would you pick that spot? And anyone could have done it. That's fine. Hindsight's better than foresight, but that's why I said, let's all think in the planning stage, but I'm glad you're taking that over and out.
Okay. All right. And there was just one last thing, and that was in the minutes last month, I think there was a statement that said city staff will post the COVID hotline number on the CDA page. And I didn't see that. So I thought it might be a good thing to have there. Can I have, Robin, would that be you who takes care of the website?
I'm here. That might have slipped off my to-do list. I'm making a note of it right now.
Okay, all right. I just thought it would be something good for people to have.
Just as a heads up, that number might be going away very shortly. So we might be winding that down. So if it appears and disappears quickly, that's probably why.
Okay, good to know.
I have a question.
Yep.
The library, the new library planning, has anyone seen the plans yet? And are we going to be able to have some input on those plans as far as accessibility and all?
Ginny?
I haven't. Oh, this is something that things can get lost in translation during these meetings. So that the library planning meetings, like they're still having the meetings for the fire station planning and the library planning. So I'm just going to ask this out loud because you said you'd be happy to look at those. Online on the calendar, the town calendar is posted when those meetings are, and they would be a public meeting, correct? Am I correct, Lindsay? Yeah. So would you have any interest in joining in that? Because it's just so much easier to do on the front end than the back end. I was going to those initially and telling them when they were putting in the extra spaces, I was like, oh my God, they can't be backup diagonal spaces on the street. But the time to do it is always on this end. And I wondered if you might have some time to do that. If I'm not speaking out of turn,
No, that
Kelly.
I wouldn't mind doing it. I just didn't know how to go about it. So, all right.
Bob, did you want to speak?
Yes, please. The meetings of the Library Building Committee happen on the Facebook page of P3, which is the design firm that's designing the new library. And they have PowerPoint presentations there that show floor plans that are being discussed at the Library Building Committee meeting. So those are archived on that page. I can post the link if you give me the permission to get to the P3 page. So all of the Library Building Committee meetings are at this Facebook site for P3 Incorporated.
Is P3 the name of the company? I just.
It's kind of a compressed name of whatever they are, professional something's.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I've objected in the past because these WebEx meetings, you have a link, you go to them. Sorry, Councilor Mayo, but or you have whatever the other thing is, Zoom. But if you're just redirected to a Facebook page and the meeting hasn't started yet, there's really no indication of where you're going to get these. But do scroll down the page at that address for P3 Incorporated, and you will see, among others, Greenfield's Library Building Committee meetings, and then you can watch the whole thing. Good if you're having trouble sleeping, I must say. It does get rather technical at times. But it does have good floor plans that show what they're anticipating. I had a conversation with the library director, Ellen Boyer, the other day, and she said one of the things they're doing with the library closed is widening the space between the bookcases so you don't have to just look over your shoulder as you go down the row in a wheelchair. You can actually turn and face the shelf. And she wants to talk to the architects to say, this is a good thing. This is how we ought to have it work in the new library. I think there's some dead ends in the new stacks of the library design. And I think those need to break away so you can go around the end of a stack instead of having to turn around and come back out. But she knows.
Okay, good. All right. But it's not finalized yet, right? We still have time to get our input in? Okay.
The meeting that was supposed to happen, I think this week, they're skipping a meeting to give the architects more time to work on trying to get a plan locked down. But there's been quite a evolution of it. There's still some issues about there's a terrace off the back of the library, and there doesn't seem to be any way to get down off the terrace except to go through the library. So if you're evacuated onto this patio on the back of the library, you wait until emergency people come and get you with a ladder? I'm not sure. So there have been some questions raised about that.
Okay.
They're good meetings. As I say, sometimes a little technical. The last one was all about ventilation systems. Tough.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Okay. Did anybody have any announcements? Anything they wanted to? Lindsay?
So just letting you all know, I don't know if you've heard, but the food pantry moved from its place on Osgood Street over to the school on Federal Street in order to do food distribution. That's a temporary move. Obviously, it needs to become a school again. And so they're looking to move. One of the options would be a location on Main Street, but it requires a handicap bathroom. So we have received an application to help fund through CDBG the placement of a handicap bathroom to make sure that that space becomes accessible. So just letting everyone know that and seeing what else, and it would include a door push button and a lower counter and something else, but they've they're definitely thinking about the ADA portion of that. So.
Good. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? So the next meeting will be July 9th. And if there are no objections, Ginny?
Just two things. First, I wanted to say thank you to Bob Williford for all of these meetings that you're going to. You sat in on a few of ours, and I thought it was lovely to meet and chat with you. And I just wanted to thank you for your advocacy and for being present at so many meetings, because it really makes a difference. That was one thing. And secondly, after we got off the topic of restaurants, I have a question, and I just want the general input on this. This was on Magpies, which I know is one of the restaurants that has applied or has asked about the outdoor dining. And so this is a specific one. The restaurant itself is it's on a hill. So how do I say this? Did we find this inaccessible to begin with? And it's like extending a non-conforming lot. How does anyone feel about that? Was it accessible, first of all? Was it accessible to start with? Magpies. Anybody? Does anybody know?
It is accessible inside.
Okay.
And I mean, I can get in there because I have a power chair, but my husband can't. He's in a manual chair. He just can't maneuver that level of grade. I guess I never really thought, you know, I guess the sidewalk is the sidewalk. I can't imagine that changing, but the inside of the restaurant is fine. I've been there several times and maneuvered very well.
So this is my question, because we will be having this next week. This is one of the ones that came forward. I know that there were two topics of conversation because it has to be contiguous with the space. So if we cannot change the incline of that.
Right. Yeah.
So my question is, and this is to the group, because there are those of us here that will be representing this group in a council meeting or at other meetings. How do you feel about outdoor seating in front of Magpies that has requested it?
Well,
I don't go there because I have to be gluten-free. Manna House is also on that stretch, isn't it? I don't know if they're accessible or not. I've never been there. But for this one, for Magpies, it's not the best location for outdoor dining. It's, yeah.
Did you? Can't hear you. Can't hear. Unmute.
There we go. I think part of the proposal was to actually go around the corner for both Magpies and the Manna House. So you would be, I think there's some sort of a walkway that goes back to the parking garage. So if you were to park at the parking garage and they didn't actually make you go up to Magpies to order. If there was somebody to take your order at that outside dining, it might be all right. But I think anytime you have to get on that bank road sidewalk in a chair, downhill is probably easy.
Yeah.
Uphill, not.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'll take a look at that walkway as well, just to see. I mean, I've been on that walkway before. You know, it might actually afford an opportunity to access it easier. I'll take a look. I'll go out and be doing some reconnaissance. That's what I call it, around town. So I'll include that in there.
Thank you, everybody, so much, because I don't know that we'll be making a decision on restaurant by restaurant, but I just want to do right by, I want to be making sure that I'm representing this board and its thoughts adequately.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. If there isn't anything else, I'm gonna suggest that we're ready to adjourn. I wanted to know if we could have, if we could have just a few moments afterwards. I just had a couple of quick questions. Actually, I'm sorry, before we adjourn, let me just say, I have not been able to get hold of Cynthia by email, by phone. Cynthia is Dodge's, our other member. I don't know any other of her friends, and I'm guessing that it wouldn't be appropriate for me to call the Millhouse, and I suppose I could ask to leave a message, but I just wondered if anybody knew anything about her. Ginny?
I'm her Facebook. I'm a friend of hers on Facebook. And because she put it on Facebook, I feel that that's okay to say, although I don't know that, but she's been having health issues.
I thought that.
Yes, and so that was on it. I don't know. I think that's public media, so I'm a nurse. I don't think there's any violation of anything. Did you want me? I have to just contact Director Marlowe. Did you want me to ask her something, or I just know she hadn't been well. It doesn't seem like it's a great time, but I will go with the will of the group. I know how to reach out to her.
Okay, that would be great. Because
What would you like me to say?
I didn't have another, just that I know that she's always been very involved. So it was so unlike her to not respond at all or be part of things for the past 2 months. So I assumed it was due to health reasons. And
Ginny,
Yes.
could you send her an e-card from the group? Or do you still have your e-card?
Well, I have e-cards. I guess I can send it to Facebook. I haven't done that yet. That would be my.
Oh, you don't ever email?
No, I always email my e-cards. I don't email them to Facebook. I email them to people's email address. So, but maybe
You have her email address, don't you?
Oh, yes.
So if you sent her a card through email, and you could, on Facebook, you could tell her to check her email.
Okay. All right.
Maybe that would work.
Yeah.
Just so that she, you know, just be nice, that's all.
Certainly. And I will just say something that from the group that we miss you.
yeah,
That's will be like, we miss you. We're thinking about you, and nothing like, okay.
yeah, absolutely. Good. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I don't have a way to shut off my fax machine. Anyway, just give it one more minute and I'll end the meeting. As you can see, I have a lot of rings on my phone before it picks up. Okay, sorry about that.
And Lynn, did you say that you needed to stay on for a minute after the meeting closes?
No, it was
'Cause I can
just
stand. No,
about
you're
the
all set.
Cynthia
Okay.
thing. That's all. That's all.
All set then. Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so I'd like to adjourn the meeting.
Second, DeFlorio.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. And thank you, Bob, for all your help. You've been a wonderful research assistant.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Has left the meeting.